Welcome to the Ages of Rock podcast with your hosts Bill Algie, Dennis Talbot, and Alan Tate. We are three guys who have one thing in common, a love of rock and roll. Our goal is to talk about all things rock. We hope you find this show intriguing, funny, and occasionally highly opinionated. Enjoy!
Hey, welcome to the Ages of Rock podcast. This is Bill, and I got Alan and Dennis, and joining us tonight from the Rock and Roll Residency, from the Gene Simmons Band, from the Ace Frehley Band, from goddamn every band in Nashville, I think, right? At some point.
I think you nailed on my Nashville band. Big Rock Show, John Corabi Band.
A lot of stuff. Jeremy Asbrock.
Hi,
how you doing,
everybody.
man?
Good. How are you guys?
Good.
Good to see y'all.
I watched the Rock and Roll Residency by wearing my the Rock and Roll Residency.
Oh man!
For those
Thank
of you
you
on
very
video.
much.
I watched the show the other night.
Thanks.
On the internet, which is really cool. It's great. It was great to hear some of the stuff from the new record too. So we'll talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about that first, and then we'll get into the Queen stuff if you want.
Sure. I forgot we were talking about Queen, actually. I would have listened to it today. In fact, I should have gone. One of you got the album cover, right? I forgot we were.
What Queen are you talking about? You never said anything about a Queen album. Which one
yeah,
we talking
Queen
about?
the Game. Yep.
Yeah, the game.
Oh.
And that was my suggestion, too. Yeah,
I got it. Here, I got it. Hold on.
Good, it's not just me.
I listened to it like 5 times in the last week, over the weekend. It's a good record.
It certainly is. I guess, we'll move on to that, and maybe I'll have that album cut. Yeah, he's getting one.
He's pulling out of there.
I don't
actually have the record.
Yeah,
I've been looking for it every time I find it. Yeah, I've got it on.
That's what I can do. I can pull it up here, so I can.
I've got electronic
reference,
and I've got it on Wikipedia here to talk about a little bit.
All right.
Well, I'm going to be.
Let's talk about the Residency album first. Then,
yeah, talk about that, man. It's good stuff. Yeah.
Well.
So how did it come about? I mean, I know you guys have played together for a long time, and playing with everybody and his brother and stuff like that. So what brought you to the point of the record? Was it the COVID stuff and not being able to get together?
Oh, no. The record's been around actually since about 2016. We started at the end of 2015, and it happened much like our show by complete accident. It started with one session, and this wasn't meant to be a residency thing. You know, a friend of mine in Phillips owned he didn't own. He managed one of the prominent studios on Music Row called House of David, and his piano player David Foster, I think his name was. No, not Foster. What's his last name? I don't know. He played piano for Elvis. So that studio is called House of David, and I believe Elvis even recorded there one time because he had a secret escape out of the studio with a trap door that went to the garage so he could just leave. So this guy offered me and Philip some free studio time. So we were like, shit, we better get some tunes together, and enlisted some help of Liam Bailey, who was in Rodney Atkins' band with Philip at the time, because Philip was still touring with Rodney. And we did 2 songs, and we had Michael Wagner stop by, and he offered to mix it. And so we just had these 2 songs to begin with. And then Wagner was like, hey, let's make some noise. So we did 2 more songs, and we held on to those for a while. And then maybe a year or so later, it's like, hey, let's make some noise. Like, fuck, okay, let's do 2 more songs. And the next thing we knew, we had an EP, but we didn't really know what to do with it, because it's real easy for everybody to say, oh, you could just put it out yourself. But nobody really knows how hard that is. I mean, it's like a Pandora's box of details, album artwork, sizing all of that, album art, you know, the art that goes on the CD or the record itself, all the streaming platforms that it comes out on now. I mean, that's like a college course you have to take on learning that stuff. And I mean, think about it, like every single little aspect that goes along with releasing an album. And this was right when our activity ramped up with Gene and then with Ace. you know, so much that we stopped doing our weekly show. So, you know, if a label wasn't going to put it out, then it's probably just going to sit around. And that's what happened. And we talked to a couple labels and, you know, had some interest, but, you know, nobody really stepped in and did anything. And then our good friend Brent Renz from the band Flip, who also owns the Rocksteady brand that we all know and love, he hooked us up with Dave Ellison's label, EMP Label Group, and they put it out finally for 4 years.
Wow. It's really good, man.
And the timing was really good too, because, you know, we can't play, so it's sort of a good placeholder for our live shows. And well, thank you. It's kind of neat to release some original music. We'd never really planned on that. It's a total accident.
Well, I thought it was cool that it started with the just the that first song, the instrumental at the beginning. I thought it was really cool. I kept waiting for vocals. I'm like, this is really pretty cool without without having vocals. So it's really a good record. You know,
actually, if you put the instrumental later in the record, that winds up being the skip track. You know?
Right. Yeah, probably. Yeah, well, that occasionally happens, but you're right. That does. But it's a good record. It's a good opener too. Kind of sets the tone. I think it just. And it really sets, shows you guys' abilities that seem to be pretty good.
I'd say out of the whole record, that is pretty much the most 50-50 co-write between me and Philip. You know, I kind of wrote, the rhythmic music part of it, and he came up with that harmony lead thing. And, I know there's no words in the song, but that lead thing is pretty damn catchy. It's kind of like a catchy chorus.
Right. I picked it up last week whenever you mentioned on your page, and it was on Bandcamp. Is that about the only place you can get it, or is that?
It is right now. It's going to be released everywhere else on August 7th.
Okay.
Like everywhere.
So I went ahead, I got it, so I could listen to it. I haven't downloaded it yet. I guess you can download it any time, right? Once you bought it, you can download it at any point. I just haven't had a chance to take it and burn it down.
Honestly, I know jack shit about digital releases.
I was asking you because I'm like going, I don't know.
Well, that's what it says. It says, but you have to download
it.
But you have to download it you have to download it on a computer.
Right?
Yeah, because it's an MP4. It's an MP3 or something like that.
Okay. Yeah, because I haven't had a chance to be on my computer. I've had this computer's been tore down.
For everybody that likes to, stream and stuff like that, it'll be on Spotify and Apple Music and all of it, Amazon. Pretty much anywhere you get music digitally, it'll be available on August 7th.
Cool. So you're not doing any vinyl or anything like that?
Not as of now, but it's not out of the question, possibly, but not right now.
Let us know, because I'd want to get one.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of us.
Me too.
At least two of us will want to get one. 3 of us.
So again, that's that whole Pandora's box thing, man.
I can't imagine.
Printing it on vinyl is, quite the endeavor. I was in a band that had a release on vinyl, and I remember how much work that was. So it's not out of the question. It's just not happening right now.
So included with the 6 originals, you put a remake on there.
Yes, Crazy Horses.
What brought you to do that? I mean, I love that song. Don't get me wrong, but that's just so far out of the left field. What
sort of?
How did that come apart?
Until you hear the song, man. Like the song rocks.
Oh, the song is great.
I brought that one to the band, and we've been doing it live quite a bit. And the EP was already done pretty much, and Philip thought we should record a cover because it's easier to get on satellite radio with a cover. I mean, it was really just to try to get on satellite radio. And,
gotcha.
I don't know. It's just, stuff like that seems easier with a cover. So, Wagner was kind of busy at the time, but, he agreed to do it, and there it is.
Well, this sounds good. Like I said, that's one of those songs that people like going, that's the Osmonds. And it's like, well, yeah, if you've never, and the thing was, this would be a great one to break out when Philip can break out his fringe. Because if you've ever seen the video of him doing it when the Osmonds did live, they were all, they're all fringed out.
And the thing is, man, is our version really isn't that different, man. When you hear the original, it rocks really hard. And
it does.
Yeah, you're like, damn, man. That rocks.
Where did that come from? Yeah. But no, I just think it's a great. I mean, I was just interested because I was like, going, that's just something completely different for most other covers. But that's just kind of nobody
it got a
does
lot of
that.
good response, man.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the last Monsters of Rock cruise we did last year, we did the song, and
Right.
it got a good response there too. I was kind of surprised at how many people know that song.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you would think so.
Well, some of us have been around for a day or two.
Yeah.
Some of us got our bifocals a while ago. Jerry.
Yeah. Even then, were you paying attention to the Osmonds?
Not really.
No, we saw them. I mean, they were on. We'd see them on TV and everything else, and of course, I mean, I don't know what year did that come out? Was that
71 or
71?
72?
I was only 6 years old, so it was
I would have been 6.
Yeah.
But I remember that song.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah.
But no, I remember that song quite a. It's not a stranger to me. But yeah, a lot of people are like, "What is that?" But, it is good. I'm glad I picked that up, and I thought that is it the second song? I'm trying to think. I should have listened to it today before I went through it. But Feeling It. That's got a Gene Simmons kind of. That could be his song. You know what I'm saying? Don't you think?
So I originally wrote a version of that riff back in 1996. That's how far that goes back. But it didn't sound like that. So
Right.
I spent 15 years in a band called the Shazam, and it was very, very much a Cheap Trick British 60s type thing.
Right.
And the whole thing is the brainchild of Hans Rottenberry, and he is the only songwriter in the band. But I was trying to get a song on one of their albums, and I kind of rewrote that song to fit, and I was obsessed with All Shook Up by Cheap Trick at the time.
Right.
So I kind of changed it around to sound like that, and then I was really trying to write a Cheap Trick song with that, and then with the harmonies and stuff, that I guess that would have been like my Enough's Enough Beatle thing, bringing that into it.
Right.
So that was what I was trying to do with it. I don't know if it was a Gene song.
It does. I mean, it's kind of, I don't know, it just kind of reminds me of something that he might do, and it kind of has that sound. I don't know.
Well, too bad he's not looking to do original music with us, because
there you go.
I would have thrown that to him instead.
Well, speaking of Gene Simmons, when Bill and I came to Fort Wayne to see you guys play with the Gene Simmons Band, you guys sound checked She's So European. We were standing out in the parking lot, and we all heard it. Did you guys ever actually perform that song live?
Oh, yeah, we did that song a lot. In fact, are you sure we didn't do it that night? Because I was actually watching some of the Surf Ballroom show, which we did on that leg. Surf Ballroom was 2 days before that show, and we did it that night. So if we didn't do it in Fort Wayne,
I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember
surprising.
y'all doing it at Fort Wayne, but Bill and I got on stage during Do You Love Me, so we were kind of excited, and the whole night was a blur after having been backstage and hanging out and all of that stuff. So.
Yeah, that was the first run we started doing the song, and then we did it on our European run later that summer, and then we did it in Australia. That was how I talked him into it, because originally our Australia run was supposed to be that previous February. And I'd seen him in December and lobbied for it. And he didn't understand why I wanted to do She's So European in Australia. And I explained, Unmasked was a really big hit in Australia. So, it makes sense to do a song off that record. And, you had like 2 or 3 songs on Unmasked. And then he said, I only had 3 songs on Unmasked. So he actually came to Nashville to rehearse that January, and we did it, and it sounded really good, so he went for it.
Yeah, because we saw you play it. You played that song also at the Christmas show, the last Christmas show that you did.
The Blonder Than Hell.
The Blonder Than Hell. You played it.
I don't really have any recollection of that show. That probably would have been because we had been doing it with Gene, and it was kind of fresh, and we had never done that song with Blonder Than Hell.
Because I remember we were taping it, and we sent it to, because Bill wasn't able to go to that last Christmas show. We sent it to him.
Was that the one we did in the summertime? or was that?
No, this was the one that was in December.
Okay, then
It was the one where I am
man,
so
they all kind of run together.
I am so
we
in
did like
trouble.
I think it was the last one because the last one the next one we were
it
going
was
to go
the last
see
one.
was it got canceled. You canceled
Yeah.
it right at the last minute or toward
like
the end because
yeah, man, at that point, since we were playing with Ace and Gene, it was a lot easier to do when we were under the radar, but we're not under the radar now, and it just kind of started feeling weird.
Yeah. I remember that night I remember Philip was saying, yeah, we just talked to Gene and we got his blessing and it was okay to go ahead and do this tonight and have a good time because it was for charity.
He did the whole Paul Stanley stick with that. We got the email from Gene or whatever.
Yeah.
But that was the show where I think Phil ended up getting sick or just wore himself out.
Yeah.
Because by the time the show was over, you guys all came out and he was like back in the back trying to recover.
He did, man. He definitely he had a hard one, that one. And I mean, that's completely fair. He definitely works the hardest out of all of us for a Kiss show. I mean, I've got it the easiest. I mean, Ace just kind of stumbles around and shit. I don't have to jump one time. And
no, exactly.
And he's like singing most of the songs and basically doing aerobics for 2 to 3 hours.
Exactly. It was a good show though. We enjoyed
so the
it.
older we get, the harder that show gets.
Yeah, I guarantee
that was another thing too, man. Like we started doing that show, we were, in our mid 30s, and now we're in our mid 40s, and that says a lot about Paul Stanley.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yep,
it sure does. Awesome.
And that dude's in pretty good shape. I saw a picture of him yesterday where he rode 12 or 15 miles or something on the bike in LA, and I'm like, oh, okay. Take my fat ass back in there and get some ice cream.
Yeah. Well, we all live in like pretty humid environments too. I'd like to see him do that shit on a summer day in Nashville when it's 98 degrees, and then with the heat index feels like 110.
Yeah. Well, we're in Indiana, so it ain't much better here, man.
No
better. I know.
Yeah, the August Ace Frehley show at the State Fairgrounds was that was
sweltering.
Was horrible. You guys did a great job.
Ace comes out in a jacket. I know.
He gets a black jacket on.
Man.
And I think he makes a comment about it too. He said something about somebody turned down the fucking heat. It was funny, and then and it was weird because they put that stage to where it's facing the sun.
Oh man, I know.
It was hotter than hell. It was crazy. It was funny, but
hotter than hell.
It was.
That's cool.
And no pun intended. It was boiling.
Brutal.
Yeah.
But, well, like I said, people that haven't, getting back to the subject, people that haven't went to Bandcamp and picked up your album, they need to go do that because it's worth getting, and it's worth hearing, supporting you guys, and like I said, it'll be nice.
It feels like a good summertime album. It's all like upbeat.
It is.
Good,
it's really
good mood, rock and roll.
Yeah, I was thoroughly entertained. So it's good to hear.
I would like it and be a little jealous of it if I weren't in the band.
There you go.
There you go. That's good to say. I think we have reviewed some records. Sometimes I think that people in the band are like, I don't think we should have done that. If they went back and listened to it, they're gonna go, oh.
Yeah.
Well, I think I think Paul's made a couple comments about some records that he wished that Kiss had never done. So yeah, whatever. Anyway. So tonight, we're on this thing where we're doing the 40th anniversary of different records that came out in 1980. And
my background ain't gonna work.
Yeah, it's not gonna work with your background.
Yeah,
you have to put it in front of your face and just leave it there. No, I'm just kidding. It just went away.
And I can't tell. Does yours have the silver cover or the gray cover?
It is.
Because
it's kind of
one that was silver and one that was just kind of dull gray.
This is kind of kind of a dull gray.
Okay, the other one's like really silver.
No, it's not the super silver one. I've got one of the originals. Well, this is another original too. This is actually my second copy. My first copy just got completely trashed out, so I ended up buying. I found this used the other day, so I found me another copy to replace it. So. It's a good album, though.
All right, so Jeremy, I have to tell you that I kind of failed to get the word out about the Queen record, so we're gonna go through this, and it'll be all right. But we'll make the best of it. So
I just recently bought it and listened to it.
I can talk a little bit about this album. So, like, one of the really, really, really cool things about this album is it's produced by a guy called Mac, and his name is Reinhold Mac. So, you know, Mac produced the Billy Squier stuff that we know and love, and he did all the Queen records from this one to let's see. A Kind of Magic. Sorry. Yeah. Mac worked in a studio called Musicland in Munich, and you know he engineered on Presence, Black and Blue by the Stones. He did the early Whitesnake albums, the early Rainbow records, Sweet Give Us a Wink, which meant he was producer and mix engineer on Action, T-Rex, 20th Century Boy. Man. There's a lot of stuff, but so I told you guys I was in a band called the Shazam, and we brought him out of retirement in 2008, and he produced us. So I got to work. Oh, and he was the engineer and mix engineer on all the ELO shit that we all love. So like his discography is huge. Made me fucking play rock and roll next to Kiss and Van Halen, and I had the honor of working with the guy. And the vocal mic that we used on the record was the mic that Freddie used on this record and every record after that. And that the video for One Vision, I mean, they're in that studio and you can see it. And like he's using this gray AKG C414. And it's just like I sang through that microphone. So I sang through the same fucking microphone that Freddie sang Another One Bites the Dust and Play the Game.
Wow, that's cool.
Crazy Little Thing Called Love, and got to work with this guy that wrote some chapters on how to engineer and mix. So that's like my link to this record.
Cool.
That is cool.
That is cool.
And go check it out, people. I mean, it's called Meteor by the Shazam. I'm very, very, very proud of that record. I told you guys Hans writes all the songs, but that was the one where I really got to invent all of my guitar parts. And, I learned how Queen does their harmonies, how they make it sound like that. Cause he had us do that. Also learned how, that backward snare thing on the Stroke, how he made that snare sound like that. Cause we did a song where he did that too.
Well, that's cool.
That is very cool.
Man, very cool. You work with a lot of pretty cool people. And so, that's really
between Michael Wagner and Matt, man, that's like over 100 million albums.
Wow.
And they're both German. That's the weird thing. Like out of all the producers I've worked with, those guys are the most famous, but they're both German and they know each other. Michael's a little easier to understand than Mac is, though. Mac's accent is very German.
Cool.
That's interesting.
All right, so a little bit about the record. The Game is the 8th studio album by Queen. It was released on June 30th, 1980. Let's see, it had, I think, 4 singles, if I'm not mistaken. This was the first record that Queen used the synthesizer, which I thought was pretty interesting. And that was on throughout the record.
I know it says that, but that's not true.
Is that not true?
There's a synthesizer on Get Down, Make Love on News of the World.
Oh yeah.
That whole middle section and shit,
Right.
Yep.
That's true.
So that factoid that's on Wikipedia, that's wrong. Like, no,
I'll have to fix. I'll edit that later.
Yeah, there you go.
Just take that shit out. See ya.
Okay.
Anyway, it became the only Queen album to reach number 1 in the U.S. And became their biggest selling studio album in the U.S. with 4 million copies sold to date, tying the record sales for News of the World. Another One Bites the Dust, obviously, is a big hit. Crazy Little Thing Called Love, both reached number 1. But I think they released 2. They released 4 songs off this record, if I'm not mistaken. I read that somewhere else.
Play the Game, Another One Bites the Dust, Save Me, and Crazy Little Thing Called Love.
Yep.
I know it says Need Your Lovin' Tonight is one, but I don't remember that one. I was only 5 at the time. However, this is when Queen came onto my radar. I did have the 45 for Crazy Little Thing and Another One Bites the Dust. So this is when Queen entered my musical realm.
Gotcha.
Like even at 5 years old.
That's cool.
So what we've done in the past, Jeremy, is we just kind of went through each song and kind of give your people, let people kind of talk about what they think about the song, and hopefully we can get that to work tonight. But so we'll let you start. That's typically how we do it, and then you can just talk about. So the first song on side one, the opener, and we talk a lot about openers and what they mean to the record, and that is "Play the Game."
I think it's an interesting opener for a record because it teeters on ballad. It's not a total ballad, but it does start off soft, and it's kind of laid back instead of like coming out swinging real hard. But there's not really a lot I can say about it except it's fucking awesome, and the vocals, man. But that's
It's
every
Freddie.
Queen
What are you
song.
gonna say? Dennis, do you want to give some input?
Yeah, it's a good opening song. It's very. I mean, it's just. I mean, it's absolute Queen. You can't. This song is. Nobody can say, well, who is that? It's Queen. Because of you've got all the harmonies, and even in that little part, that little breakdown part, you almost got almost like a Bohemian Rhapsody. That dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of that going on with it too. But I like it. I mean, it's kind of takes you on a little journey. Like I said, it starts out a little slow, builds up, and goes in. But it's a good opener for this album. I really do. And I think this was, they went. This one here had more of the, when you start getting like Another Mind Bites the Dust and Crazy Little Thing Called Love. They were shooting radio hard. They were trying to really. I think this time around they were trying to get a little bit more radio play, and but. Play the Game has a lot of that classic Queen in it, I think. So, but it's a good song.
Alan?
I dig the song "Play the Game," but if I was the one sequencing the album, I would probably switch tracks 1 and 2. I would have started it out with Dragon Attack.
Interesting.
Yeah, to my note was if this was on anybody else's record, I probably wouldn't be very happy with it being an opening song, just because of for me it's too slow as an opening song. But it's a Queen record, and it makes perfect sense for it to be the first
Right.
song. So but if it was on a different record, I would have probably just skipped it. But it's just Queen. It just sounds like Queen, so it made sense. But I don't disagree at all. All right, track 2, which is Dragon Attack.
Love Dragon Attack. The Residency's done this song a lot. This is when we did a whole bunch, and it really doesn't make much sense as a song. I can tell it's kind of something they just put together, because it doesn't sound like the kind of thing that you sit down and write like, okay, hey guys, here's my new song. It just sounds like a cool riff, and the lyrics aren't like very songy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of like some shit Freddie was just kind of scatting and like, oh yeah, let's just keep that. That's cool. Let's just keep that. And that breakdown in the middle is cool as fuck too. That's another great Queen breakdown. Showtime. I love playing this song. So if I was in Queen, I'd have this one in the set all the time.
That's cool. Yeah, Dragon Attack is my second favorite song on this album. Ever since I've heard this album, like I said, it's been one of my favorites. Our band just recently, when Alan and I and Rodney, Rod and I had talked about doing it for a long time, so we tried it this last time. And it's a fun song to play. And then, like I said, you can just because you can just get off on something. You can just kind of take that middle part and kind of just let it go for a little bit, and everything sounds good because, like you said, it doesn't really have it's just a kind of a thrown together song. It's almost like you said, it's an ad lib from the very start. So ad libbing extra on the song is not hard to do, and you can get away with it really easy. But no, I do like the song. It's just got a great groove to it, and it's got some great guitar work in it too. Love it.
Yeah, that solo is very fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's got some really good bass work in it too. This is the song that made me appreciate John Deacon as a bass player, because when they're like, "We're gonna do Dragon Attack," I'm like, "I'm not really familiar." Well, let me play it for you, and I'm like, "Holy shit!"
Pretty much his song, even though he didn't write it.
That's right. It is. It's a bass heavy song. But I think it's a great song. I'm glad they introduced it to me.
For me, this is my favorite song on the record, and it does have to do with that bass run. The bass run in there is just awesome. I mean, the whole thing, and it's just
See, I think this is a perfect second song because it keeps you in. Like, a lot of times you can hear the first song, and if the first song's great and the second one's not great, you get a little discouraged. And if the first one's not great and the second one's not great,
it's over.
You might bail on the album. So people don't really realize how important the second song on an album is, man. Like, the second one is as important as the first. I mean, they're all important, but the second one is the one that keeps you in if the first one is great or it sucks.
You need a 1-2 punch on an album. You need to get that first one.
Because it could save the album if the first song doesn't have you.
Right. I agree on that.
Yeah, I would agree. If you get to the second one and it's not worth it, you're done.
Yeah.
You're moving on. All right, moving on. Let's see, this little song they had out, I don't know, probably heard of it before. Another One Bites the Dust.
I think this is one of the biggest songs in Queen's career for a few reasons. First of all, because John Deacon wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a big deal for him to have like such a big, gigantic hit. And, we all know this is the most different thing that they could have done or had done. I mean, I know Bohemian Rhapsody is pretty different in like the grand scheme of music, but them coming out with a dance club hit when they're known for this bombast is pretty radical.
Mm-hmm.
And this was one of the first 45s I ever had. Like, I was into Kiss by then, and I had Kiss records, but like getting into other bands was, kind of different for me. I didn't have a lot of access to stuff like that because I didn't listen to the radio. So I guess my mom would have been the one that heard this on the radio and played it, and I latched on to it. And this has been my son's favorite song since he was about 2 years old. I've heard this song more than any Queen song. In fact, this was like his lullaby. So probably for the rest of my life, when I hear this song, I'm going to get a little sleepy.
That's great.
We took him to see Queen. Our good friend Tyler Warren, he plays Queen, or plays percussion in the current version of Queen.
Mm-hmm.
So we went down to see him last year when they toured, and we took Rory, and he knew this song. And watching a 3-year-old react like the rest of the audience with his hands in the air and singing the song and screaming because he knew that one. That's cool. What every dad wants, man. Like, that's my boy. Awesome. And then, like riding in the car when we play it for him, he knew the ooh sha. Listening to a 2-year-old do that's pretty fucking cool.
That is a funny story.
And we took him on the Kiss cruise. Let's see, that was 2017. Yeah, 17. And we were hanging out with Eric Singer, and he was just like, who's your favorite band? He's like, Queen. And, my son's like, 3? No, 2. And Queen, he's like, what's your favorite song? He's like, Another One Bites the Dust. And Eric's like, Another One Bites the Dust. And then he's going to say something and then realize it's a 2-year-old. He's like, all right, yeah, that's a cool song.
That's funny.
But if it was an adult, they said that, you'd be like, what? Another One Bites the Dust is your favorite Queen song? What the fuck's wrong with you?
There's so many options.
You get a pass. You get a pass if you're under 5. So,
So just because of my son and this being the first Queen 45 I ever had, it's probably going to go down in my life as like the most important Queen song, even though it's not necessarily my favorite.
Sure. Makes perfect sense.
It's got memories and ties to it. I mean, that's what music's all about. So.
It's all about emotion.
Yeah. Another one bites the dust for me. It's one of those. It's kind of one of those I'm burnt songs. I've heard it, and my son didn't sing along with that one, so I don't have any ties to it that way. It is a good song, and and there again, the funniest thing is, Freddie took John aside years ago and told him, dude, you're not writing any material. And if you want money later on in life, you need to write some good tunes. Of course, you're my best friend. First song out of the pike, hit. He hadn't wrote one for a while. Okay, I'll write another one. Another one bites the dust. It's like going, dude's, he doesn't do a lot, but when he does something, it is perfection. And made a lot of money on both those songs. So, but anyway, but no, it's a great song, and it's so much different for Queen. It's just not one of those a Queen-esque song. It's a disco song kind of. It's a pop.
There's no harmonies on it.
No, I mean it's just basically
not one harmony.
No. So anyway, it's just but I mean it's catchy as hell, and a lot of people like it. But there's nothing wrong with it. Just burn on it myself. Alan.
What's a popular song? Of course you burn on it, Dennis.
Of course, I know.
I mean, it's got a nice, simple bass line. John Deacon wrote it. I can't really add anything that anybody else hasn't already said.
Yeah, I took notes when I was listening to it today at work. So anybody listening to this will know that I was working on this at work. So
he didn't tell any of us that we were doing this. So
I did. So it's totally my fault.
It's okay. I totally.
So and I'm glad.
It was my suggestion. I totally forgot that we were talking about it.
Bill
So I didn't listen to it today either. And normally when I recap an album, I like to listen to it that day. So.
Well, luckily, I had just bought this recently, so I did do a good listen through here, just fairly.
So I just wrote classic and epic song. There was nothing else to say. I mean, that's pretty much how it works. All right, so let's see. Next song on the album is "Need Your Love Tonight."
This is another one we did with the Residency with Tyler singing it, and that was his suggestion. So we play with Tyler. It's usually a Queen song since he's in the band. I don't know. There's not really a lot to say. Just kind of a great power pop-ish Queen tune. If I were listening to this album for the first time, I'd be pretty happy with it because it sounds like Queen. It's there's nothing particularly noteworthy about it, but it's not bad either. So it's good reliable Queen.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Like I said, it's nothing spectacular, but you can't help but smile when you hear the song. It's just a good, fun-loving, fun-loving power pop. So yeah, I agree with you on that one. Alan.
If I had known we were reviewing this album today, I may have smiled when I heard the song.
You can smile later when you listen to it again.
Yeah, you can listen to it later.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be honest, there are only 4 songs on this album that I'm not familiar with. I mean, so that tells you something about this album right there.
Right.
Yep. So my review of it, you guys hit it. I just wrote fun. It's just a fun song.
Yeah.
It's cool to listen to. Just a fun song. All right. Let's see. The next one is "Crazy Little Thing Called Love."
Yeah. So, this one kind of fits in with another one bites the dust, man. Queen jumping out of the box and doing something that does not sound like Queen. And, when a band does that, they either reap the rewards or they go down in flames. And, one particular thing about this song is that Brian May did not play his Brian May guitar. Mac asked him to play a Telecaster on this. And so that solo is done with Telecaster, which is a little different. I had this 45 also when I was 5 years old. So, wow, I had 2. So Queen and Kiss were like the only bands on my radar, like between 1978 and, I didn't discover another band until 1983 with The Who and Van Halen. So like it was only Kiss and then Queen in 1980 after this record. So this is another big song for me.
Interesting. It's really funny because Kiss was my first big band that I ever got into.
Yeah, me too.
And Queen was my second band that I got into big time. I mean, it was like I went out and I had to buy all the albums. I remember for Easter, my mom got me Bohemian Rhapsody, or Night at the Opera, and News of the World. I got both those albums for an Easter present.
See, I guess Queen just would have been a singles experience. I don't know why I didn't latch onto them and get their records, because hell, the year after this, Flash Gordon came out, and I mean, that was my favorite fucking movie. I watched that every single time it came on HBO, and I knew all the songs, but yet still did not go out and get their albums. I was just kind of picking their singles.
You know, Flash Gordon album was okay. It was I bought it, of course, but it was like, it's just a lot of background music and a lot
but
of,
if you're obsessed with the movie,
but if you like the movie, no, exactly. But I'm going to have to really poo-poo this parade. Even when I was a kid, this is probably the least favorite song I've ever heard from Queen. I've never, since the day I heard it, when I hear it on the radio, seen the video for it, it's like, oh God, you know.
This is your skipper?
Yeah. Oh yeah, big time skipper. Yeah. I just never liked it. I don't know. I'm not a big. I don't know. It's kind of that kind of rockabilly kind of, you know, I don't know, just don't like it. Sorry, Alan.
I was going to mention rockabilly myself. I like to call him Elvis Mercury when he's singing this song. That's why it kind of gives me an Elvis vibe. I really like the song, you know, and for me, it's fun to play on acoustic guitar.
Right.
So,
and they cut it before Brian May got there, because he knew Brian would probably say no, and it's like, no, we got to do this right now before he gets here. And then they cut the tune before he got there. So,
oh wow,
too late, bitch. Sit down and record your part.
Strap it on, let's go. Yeah, and for me, you know, it's just a catchy tune. You know, like for me, I thought it was something out of the 50s. That's the note I wrote. You know, this kind of reminded me of something from back in that era, 50s, you know, early 60s kind of thing. It was it's a great song. I like that song. One of my favorites.
Yeah, I love it, man.
And that's the ending for the first side too. So I thought it was a pretty good ending for the first side. Upbeat, catchy, definitely a good ending. So flipping over, side 2 starts out
where
with,
it starts getting, you know, starts losing me a little bit.
Yep.
You know, like it's a strong album overall, but I can see why some of these songs were put on side 2.
Yeah, so it leads off with Rocket, which is called Rocket Prime Jam or whatever.
And again, you know, I obsessed on the first side a lot, but since side 2 didn't grab me as much, I haven't obsessed on it as much. And, you know, since I didn't listen to it today, what I remember about this is skip.
It's got a really weird beginning. It's got a weird kind of odd beginning, and then the rest of the song's not bad, but that beginning is just.
Well, can we blame that on the fact that it's a Roger Taylor song and he's still in love with his guitar?
No, you can't blame that, because Roger Taylor also wrote Sheer Heart Attack.
Right.
Sheer Heart Attack kicks ass.
It does.
And he wrote I'm in Love with My Car, which is kind of
I like that song. I always
great.
like that song. Sorry, I always thought that song was killer.
And man, he wrote Radio Gaga. Man,
yeah.
you can crap on that all they want, but that song's fucking killer.
It's funny though. You go from this album, you go in from side A to side B, and you're ending with a song that sounds like it's from the 50s, and then you turn this bitch over, and then it's a song from Valley Girl. Basically, it's got that the synthesizer in it and stuff. I've never been a big side 2 of this album, like you said. Actually, my favorite songs on this side, but there's some skippage.
There's some skippage.
There's some skippage. So yeah, it's side 2 is just a hard one to, you know. I'm glad that we have CDs now, or we can, you know, just go on there and stream it, because I can just skip real quick. Record, you got to pick some bitch up and move it, you know.
Or play through it, right?
Yeah, or just.
All right, so we're gonna move on, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on to the second.
Alan,
did you want to?
I'm unfamiliar with this song.
Yeah,
I just looked and saw that Roger Taylor wrote it on Wikipedia, so I had to get a smart ass comment in.
I can't say that.
Might be your favorite song if you listen to it.
Yeah. Okay. So the next song is "Don't Try Suicide."
Skip.
Yeah, it's a little odd. it's kind of I never really kind of I don't know what he was trying to do with that song. I really don't know. I mean, I don't know if it was a PSA at the time, as I'm trying to help people out. Here's the number for the suicide, hotline or something. I don't know, but it just doesn't work for me either. It's a hard skip. So I'm already almost halfway through the second side, and I haven't listened to a song.
It's going to be a lot faster side than the first side.
Exactly.
Well, this song,
Alan.
When I was a kid, I liked this song. I never had a problem with it, and I didn't listen to this song for years and years. And 2 or 3 years ago, I made myself a Queen playlist when I first got Spotify, and I put it in there. And as I was listening to the playlist, I'm like, man, get that song out of there. That's terrible. So yeah, I'm with y'all. It's a skipper now.
Yeah, my note just says I got nothing.
That's all it says.
Your note should have said WTF.
Yeah, I got nothing. That's all it says. All right, let's see. Third song on side 2 is "Sail Away, Sweet Sister."
Man, I would need to hear this one. Like I've listened to the album a lot in my lifetime, and I don't remember the next 2 songs. And I know I'd hear them and go, "Oh yeah, that tune," but I can't really comment on it because I need to hear it. So, one of you guys.
Well, I listened to it a couple times. Actually, I like this song. It's got a really good groove. Just the guitar groove. It just really kind of, at least for me, kind of just. Well, it's actually to me one of the better songs on this side for sure.
Oh, it's
definitely might even be the best song on this side for me.
It's the second best song on this side. On this side. No, it's not the second best song on the album.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It's a good Freddie piano, and it's got some upswings and downswings, and it's kind of. Is it a great song? No, but I tell you what, after the first 2 you just listen to on the side, it's kind of you can kind of breathe a little bit.
Yeah, it's a Brian May song too, and he wrote it and he sings on it, so it's a little different too.
Sure, but it's different. Yeah. Anyway,
all right, so we'll move on to "Coming Soon."
Yeah, this is the other one. Like, man, I know this song, but since I didn't listen to it today, I can't really bring it up in my brain how it goes. So I'm not going to comment on it.
Do you remember, Dennis?
I had to actually do that too. That's why I just kind of listened to it for a second. It's kind of I got a tune. It's kind of it's a poppy song. It's nothing.
It's definitely a pop song.
It's a pop song, and it's just nothing spectacular.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I was listening to it at work today, and as I was listening to it, I was finding myself. I was reading some stuff and sending some emails, but I found myself with a pen in my hand, kind of tapping. It's catchy, but it's not anything that.
Yeah, it's not spectacular.
It's not spectacular.
No,
definitely not. And that's a Taylor and Freddie Mercury. Well, that's another Roger Taylor song. Freddie Mercury sings it, but it's a Roger Taylor song.
And it sounds like a Roger Taylor song. You get that, the drums kind of going on that and stuff. And it's like I said, it's not terrible. It's just not memorable.
Okay, so the last one we're going to know, right? Which is "Save Me."
Yeah, great ender, great
saves the album.
Maybe that's why it was put there, and that's why it's called that.
This is a great ending to the album. This is a good album ending type song. It's kind of big and epic, and there's not really much more I could say about that. I mean, it's not Queen's greatest song ever, but it's seriously by far not their worst either. If I were sequencing the album, I would have put this song last. It makes it end on a great up note.
Yeah, it is classic Freddie Mercury.
Yeah,
epic kind of sound. I mean, epic as far as it's not the best song. It's the best song to me on the album. It is my favorite song on the album. Is it the best Queen song? No, but for this album, this is my favorite song. Dragon Attack comes in second, but it's just because it's got that classic Queen, Freddie. It's just, and it swells, and it's just.
It sounds like Queen. It's not them experimenting or doing anything about it. The album starts sounding like Queen, and it ends sounding like Queen.
Right. But that shit, and like I said, I don't know if it's because I just heard 4 pretty well, mediocre song, well, a couple shitters and a couple mediocre songs, and then they pop this one on and it makes it be real good. But no, I really do like this song a lot. And I like when Freddie is in that mode, and when he's, just really getting his vocal out there and just building and swelling and all, so yeah, it's a good song for me. Alan.
I dig this song.
Well, good.
You
know that.
Well, it was on one of the greatest hit CDs, I'm sure, because that's the only way that I know it.
It is a good song.
But I dig the song. It's one of the higher ups in the greatest hits catalog as far as I'm concerned. And I think it was a good album ender, since I don't know the other ones.
A little note for me. This was the last Queen album I ever bought. I never bought anything afterwards. I mean, I do like Radio Gaga. I like the song. I like was that one, Hammer Will Fall. I like a couple of the bigger songs that come off there, but I really was it Hot Space came after this.
Mm-hmm.
And Hot Space I had no interest in that whatsoever. And I just kind of at that point, I think that's when I just said, Queen had their run. I love the older stuff. I still listen to it a lot. But there's other bands out there. I was still getting into Maiden and Priest and shit at that time.
So, Dennis, is this Queen's equivalent of Dynasty or The Elder or Unmasked?
I liked all those. Well, I didn't like Dynasty and Unmasked, but I love The Elder, and Creatures is fucking awesome. Now I would put like Asylum or one of those those stage shitters. I would do that. But no,
actually for the fans, this probably would have been their Dynasty, because it had the dance song, and
sure,
Dynasty was very successful still, and they had hit singles all over the world. And then Unmasked came out. That would probably be a bit like Hot Space, where fans started seriously losing interest. And then let's see, what came after Hot Space? Was that The Works, or was there something?
I'm not for sure. Let me look real quick. I can look real quick.
What came after Hot Space? That would have been The Elder, because see, I can't even tell you what album it is.
Oh, it should have been.
Actually, that's
actually Flash Gordon came out.
I'm
first.
Actually wrong. I am wrong. I bought Flash Gordon, so
I'm not counting Flash Gordon as an album.
Okay,
it's a soundtrack, so I'm not really putting that in.
See, you went new. So anyway, we get to so Jazz is a great album. I love that. Live Killers came out in 79. The Game came out in 80. Flash Gordon came out in 80. Then Hot Space in 82. The Works came out in 84. Kind of Magic in 86. The Miracle in 89. And Innuendo in 91. So, yeah. And like I said, I have no use for any of the other, this later shit. I really don't. There's a song.
The Innuendo would have been the Creatures of the Night, even though it wouldn't really follow the album to album thing.
Right. Because what Innuendo had what?
The thing is, man, is if Queen had not done so many out of the box gambles on the Game, I think that their star would have fallen kind of like it did with all of those albums. And that, those were fantastic songs, and it was different, and it helped them reach different people, and they had a different look. It was a pretty big gamble that paid off.
Right.
I mean, you guys would know, because I was a lot smaller, but I've read that people were upset about Freddie's image change with his short hair and mustache look.
Right. It was a shock for me. I remember that. I was like, I don't know if I like this. And I like the longer haired Freddie, and, put him in the leotard with the black and, the checkered leotard or something like that.
But then they reached so many other people, and, developed a different audience that weren't those long hairs that needed that packaged rock look.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, it was a good album. It's just a matter of, like I said, I lost. And like I said, I did buy the Flash Gordon soundtrack, but I was just really disappointed in that, because like I said, it's just a bunch of music. There was a couple songs in the Flash Gordon, and there was another one during the football game or whatever it was, that Brian May.
Football fight. I love it.
Yeah.
That was actually that was the B-side to the Flash Gordon song 45. Yeah.
And I think there was only really 3 songs on that whole album. The rest of it was just a lot of background stuff.
The Hero is that song alone is worth worth
Right.
having the whole album.
I haven't listened to that thing in years. I mean, I don't even know where it's at.
Well, speaking of the song Flash Gordon, I had also put that in my Spotify playlist and chucked it out too.
Flash.
Why on earth would you do that? That song's fucking killer, man.
It didn't do for me in my 40s like it did when I was a kid or a teenager. You know, it just
See, I've listened to
I
that one
outgrew it. I don't know.
recently. I still love Flash.
Anytime anybody says Flash Gordon, all I can see is the movie Ted.
I know. You're doing coke with
That's
that
all
guy.
I can see.
That is
funny as
funny.
shit.
I think about
That's
that
the
too.
funniest damn thing, I swear.
Dude, you got to come over here. Flash Gordon's here. Hey, you guys want to do some coke?
Yeah. Insane.
Yeah, it is. It is good.
Man, you know, I'm not into anything like that at all. But man, if fucking Sam J. Jones was there in a Flash Gordon outfit, and it's like, I might be like,
Something to tell the kids, you know, later on.
Yeah,
But,
if you're bringing your stuff bear with you, that's a whole different discussion.
talking stuff. There.
Yeah,
Not
talking
Teddy
stuff
Ruck,
there.
and not a Teddy Ruxpin either.
Yeah, exactly. That's a whole. That's a whole.
Teddy
other issue.
Ruxpin. I forgot all about that. Holy shit, man.
Did
Yeah.
you never put your Ozzy Osbourne cassette in there? Play Crazy
Oh!
Train.
Here's the other thing about this album too. I wanted to mention real quick.
You
It
can quit
has-
holding that up
I
because
know,
nobody can
I
see
know.
it.
Here, I'll just do this for 1 second. Look, you don't see my background. There you go.
Oh yeah.
My room's a mess. So anyway, I'll go back to there. This album has the best backwards message, the clearest backwards message of any album I've ever tried to hear. I've done the
And
Led
have you
Zeppelin.
heard it? Were you able to hear what they say it says?
Oh yeah.
yeah,
It's
me
fun
too.
to smoke marijuana.
No,
fun
we
to smoke-
decided to smoke marijuana. We
that
decided to
what it
smoke
said?
marijuana. We decided to smoke marijuana. Yeah.
Hey.
So I didn't do college very long. I did it for a semester, and in one class called Audio for Media.
Right.
One of the class one day was about backward masking, and
Right.
he used that as an example.
It's
And
clear as
I
a
had
bell,
never
dude.
heard it until that day, and
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was there. And then they played it, and yeah, I mean, when it's
clear
planted
as a
in your
bell.
brain that's what he says, that's exactly what you hear.
We always thought it's fun to smoke marijuana. It's
I
fun
heard
to smoke marijuana.
I heard we decided to smoke marijuana.
Oh,
So
it's-
now that
the
you guys
marijuana
have
is
heard both
clear.
of it, go back and listen, and you'll probably hear both of them.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah,
how
you just go
backward
to the-
masking works. They plant that in your brain, and then you already know that's what you're hearing. And then
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you go to the part where it goes in the
breakdown.
the breakdown of the song, you know, it's,
another one bites the dust.
Yeah.
Another one bites the dust. Hey.
yeah,
Yeah.
run that
Backwards.
backwards and you'll hear it. It's
Wow.
crazy.
I wasn't aware that there was a little Easter egg on
There
there,
you
so
go.
I'll have to go figure
There
that
you
out.
go. Yeah.
I will
Cool.
be running that through Audacity later.
There you go.
All right, Jeremy.
was-
Thanks, man. You
You're welcome.
wanna plug your stuff and
Give the
what's
plug.
going on and
Yes. When is this coming out?
Thursday.
Thursday.
Almost.
All right. Well, we haven't released a thing because since it's not Thursday, or it's actually Monday. You will be able to get new Talisman T-shirts, and we're offering packages where you can do a Zoom call with us, or you can do a Zoom call and we'll play a song for you. There are
Cool.
different tiers. We have been in a band with Gene Simmons before, so we're offering different packages and charging different amounts for them.
Let's
So
see.
you
I wonder
paid
where you got that
attention.
idea.
Is
You
Gene going to
paid
give you a lot?
attention when we were all sitting backstage and Gene was talking business.
So we agreed to release this on Tuesday, which will be tomorrow from this interview. So I'm going to have to tell the guys, well, we have to put out tomorrow because I've got an interview coming out on Thursday and I said something.
There you
And
go.
let's see, we got the Rock and Roll Residency Album, the EP that comes out on August 7th. You can go to bandcamp.com right now and you can get it right now. So that's about what we got going on. We're going to try to do more Rock and Roll Residency live streams. We've agreed to maybe do one a month now.
That was fun the other night. Loved it.
Yeah,
Loved
it was
that.
good.
I had a good
Man,
time listening
you
to
know,
it. I actually didn't get to hear it live. I had to actually go back and watch it after the fact because I had something else going on that night.
Well, you didn't watch it on YouTube, did you? Because that shit got yanked the next morning.
Oh, it did.
Did it really? Well, you were
Yeah.
talking about it. You guys were worried about it was going to get shut down because something else had gotten shut down, but it was
I
fine
had
when it was up.
through
I-
Vimeo, wasn't it?
It was that fucking Eagles song, man.
I speak
we
from
got-
experience.
we got
YouTube
cited
does not
for a
fuck
whole bunch
around.
of songs, but it was just like you can't collect ad revenue on this song and this song and this song and this song. But Those Shoes by the
Those
Eagles,
shoes,
it's like,
dude, that thing was so perfect.
thank you.
I mean, I swear to God, my buddy came over yesterday, or was it yesterday, day before yesterday, and I said, Rod, I said, you got to fucking hear this. And I started playing. He goes, "That's the Eagles, the shoes." I said, "No, dude, it's the Macro Residency." And he had came down to and seen that last show with us that we all came down from Indiana to see that night. And Rob was like going, he was like, that whole night was like, these guys are fucking spectacular.
That's probably one of the best.
Thank you.
I tell you, that's probably one of the best shows I think I've ever been to. I
Oh,
had
I'm
such a
thanks,
great
man.
Yeah,
time.
hands down, it was
It
good.
was awesome. That was
And
a
like I
great
said,
night.
you guys playing Juniors for him. I love that fucking song. You guys tear that up so bad.
Thank you very much.
It's just fucking awesome.
We did get cited for that one, but we just
Did
didn't
you?
collect ad revenue, which we weren't going to anyway. But Those Shoes said your video, can't be seen. So
That's
that
fucked
one
up.
song got the whole video blocked. So
Wow.
we probably won't do any Eagles songs anymore. And it's
Wow.
like just this algorithm that like recognizes melodies and shit, and that's how they do that.
Right. So I had watched that, I guess, on Vimeo. I went to your page on
Yeah.
Facebook, and then I ended up looking at it from there. So I guess it was Vimeo or whatever the other. streaming.
On Facebook, so from the residency page, we streamed live from there, and that's what we all shared. So
Gotcha.
I guess they're not as hardcore about blocking stuff. So you can
Because I
still
had
see it there.
I had searched your name because I remember you posted it, and then went to the link from your page. So I guess it is the Rock and Roll
Yeah.
Residency page.
So
But anyway,
we'll
it
do
was
the same
fantastic.
thing. We'll try again and just cross our fingers that the YouTube algorithm doesn't get us blocked.
That's the YouTube Eagle rhythm.
Yeah, there you go.
I see what you did there.
But no, it was fun. It was great. And like I said, man, right now everybody is jonesing for some live music and just to hear some tunes. And
I was really happy with how it sounded. Like
it sounded really good.
When we
I
got
thought.
done, we watched the whole thing at the
Yeah.
place where we recorded it. It was like, damn.
I think the bass player, I can't think of his name.
Judd.
Damn it. Judd.
Judd.
His vocals were a little muddy, but I think everything else was pretty well on tap. I don't know what the mix was.
I thought when he sang though, it didn't sound too bad, but when he was just talking a
Right.
couple of times, it was really hard to understand him.
Yeah.
If you weren't talking right on the mic,
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was.
you weren't going to be heard very well. And the guy made that clear to us because
Right.
everything.
But I mean, all in all, it was a really good recording for
thanks.
doing a live
Good
thing.
show,
like
man.
that. It was good.
It
Enjoyed
was so fun to play with my guys again. And
You guys look like you were having fun.
we were. That was not
You did.
bullshit.
Yeah.
It just felt good to, I've done one gig this summer. It was fun, but playing with my guys,
Right.
there is an honest to God connection that, we all have. We play together, and
You can tell it.
Oh yeah.
it was fantastic.
Awesome.
Awesome.
All right, man. We'll let you get out of here. Thanks for joining us.
Alan, stay around.
Yeah,
for a minute.
man.
Alan,
Next
Hang
time,
on for just a second.
I'll actually listen to the record the day that we do
And I'll,
it.
and I'll
Actually,
actually
Bill-
share it.
and Bill will tell us that we're doing a record.
It's something about him. I've screwed things up with him. I've called him the wrong name before. I've done. It's just something.
Honestly,
I
I had to Google like albums from 1980 because you're like, well, we've already done Unmasked and Back in Black and Women and Children First, and it's like, well, fuck, those are the three right there.
You had what was the other one? Oh, when
Blizzard of
Blizzard-
Oz.
Blizzard of
Blizzard-
Oz is one we
that's
haven't
the one.
done.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
one.
shit. That's right.
Yeah.
That is one.
We're gonna have to do that one at some.
Actually,
There's actually
man,
a bunch if you go look.
I probably
There's-
know the game a little better than I know Blizzard of Oz. I know Blizzard of Oz, but I've spent more time with the game, and since Mac produced it, I have more of a connection with it, and it probably made more sense for me to talk about.
Yeah.
That
Right.
because
Oh, yeah,
Blizzard
exactly.
of Oz, it's really just a Randy Rhoads haircut that I have in common with.
Also,
At
REO
least you
had
still
their
have it.
REO had their big. They had their big record in '82, though. That's another one.
Yeah.
All
That's
right, hang out for a
couple of-
minute, Jeremy. Let me take us out of here.
Okay.
Visit us on agesofrock.com. Check out our social media and past episodes. Till next time, peace. Thanks for listening to the Ages of Rock podcast. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and most importantly, tell all your friends. Remember, you're never too old to rock. Until the next episode, peace out, folks.